my students. This is the lecture number 7 and the last lecture of Principles of Statistics. Okay, this lecture deals with the regression analysis. We studied before the relationship between two variables in two ways: covariance and correlation coefficient. Okay, now we will study the relationship between two variables using regression analysis. To understand this way, assume that an economist wants to investigate the relationship between food expenditure and the income. What factors or variables does a household consider when deciding how much money he should spend on on food every week or every month? Okay, certainly income of the household is one factor. However, many other variables also affect food expenditures. For example, the assets owned by the household, the family members or dependents, the preferences and the tastes of the family members, and the in special dietary needs of household members are some of the variables that influence a household decisions about food expenditure. Okay, these variables are called independent or explanatory variables. دي متغيرات مستقلة أو مفسرة, because they all vary independently and they explain the variation in food expenditure among different households or families. In other words, these variables explain why different families spend different amounts of money on food. Now, food expenditure is called the dependent variable. So the income is independent variable and the food expenditure is dependent variable, متغير تابع. Okay, why it's called the dependent variable? Because it depends on the independent variables. Okay, studying the effect of two or more independent variables on a dependent variable using regression analysis is called multiple regression. So if we have only one independent variable, the regression equation is called simple regression. If we have two or more independent variables, the regression is called multiple regression analysis. Okay, however, if we select only one independent variable and study the effect of that single variable on a dependent variable, it's called a simple regression. Okay, thus a simple regression includes only two variables, one independent and one dependent. Okay, the regression model is a mathematical equation that describes the relationship between two or more variables. A simple regression model includes only two variables, as I said before, one independent and one dependent. The dependent variable is the one being explained, and the independent variable is the one used to explain the variation and the dependent variable. Okay, يعني كده المتغير التابع هو الذي يتم تفسيره بواسطة المتغير المستقل. طيب linear regression model، شوف نموذج الانحدار الخطي. يبقى هنا كلمة انحدار بتشمل linear و non-linear. okay, so we will study only the linear regression model, not non-linear regression model. okay, and we will study the simple regression, not the multiple regression. A simple regression model that gives a straight line relationship between two variables is called a linear regression model. The relationship between two variables in a regression analysis is expressed by a mathematical equation called a regression equation or model. The equation of a linear relationship between two variables x and y written as follows. This is the equation of simple linear regression model. Y equal a plus bx. Okay, y is the dependent variable, a is the constant, or it's called y-intercept، الجزء المقطوع من محور الرأسي، y-intercept. And b is called the coefficient of regression or the regression coefficient، معامل الانحدار. okay، معامل الانحدار. What's the meaning of regression coefficient معامل الانحدار؟ We will see what's the meaning of A and the B later. Now x is the independent variable and y is the dependent variable. This is the linear equation model. Each set of variables of values of A and B gives a different straight line. For example, when A equal 10 and B equal 5, this equation becomes as follows: y equal 10 plus 5x. To plot a straight line, we need to know at least 2 points that lie on that line. We can find 2 points on a line by specifying any 2 values to x and then computing the corresponding value of y. Okay, when x equals 0, then y equal 10. Y equal 10. So here the meaning of A represent the value of y when x equal 0. When x equal 0. And this is not logic to be x equals 0. okay, it's not logic, but mathematically y, the dependent variable, equal a, the constant limit, when x equal 0. When x equal 0. Okay, so this is the meaning of a equal y-intercept. Y-intercept, right? Okay, when x equal 10, then y equal 10 plus 5 multiplied by 10, then y equal 60. Y equal 60. Okay, these 2 points are plotted. By joining these 2 points, we obtain the line representing the above equation as follows. So this is the line, this one, and this distance represent A. It's called the y-intercept. Y-intercept، الجزء المقطوع من محور y intercept. So when x equals 0, y equal 10 like this, or y equal a, okay? So look, 10 is called y-intercept. So A is called y-intercept. The y-intercept is given by the constant term in the equation. It is the value of y when x equal 0, right? The value of y when x equal 0. The equation y equal 10 plus 5x is called the coefficient of x, or the slope of the line. 5 or b is called the coefficient of x, or the slope of the line. It gives the amount of a change in y due to the change of 1 unit in x. يعني دي البي هنا او الفايف دي هي معامل الانحدار. طب معامل الانحدار يعني ايه؟ بتدينا التغير في y عندما تتغير x بوحدة واحدة، عندما تتغير x بوحدة واحدة، ولذلك تسمى ب معامل الانحدار. يبقى ده the meaning of A and B respectively. For example, if x equal 10, then y equal 60. If x equal 11, so x increased from 10 to 11, or increased by 1 unit, only 1 unit. What will happen to y? Okay, then y in this case equal 10 plus 5 multiplied by 11, so equal 65. So y changed from 60 to 65 where or when x changed from 10 to 11. Okay, so 1 unit change in x corresponds to 5 unit exchange in y. Okay, so 5 is the coefficient of regression, or the rate of a change in y when x changed by only 1 unit, or due to 1 unit. Okay, so as x increased by 1 unit from 10 to 11, y increase by 5 units. Y increase because this sign is plus, not minus. If this sign is minus, so y will decrease when x increase. Okay, so the sign of this limit is very important to explain the relationship of the two variables. Okay, if plus, you understand that the relationship is positive. If minus, you understand that the relationship is negative. Okay, so when, in this case, when the sign is plus, means that when x increase, y increase also. Y increase by what? By b, or by 5 units, from 60 to 65. This is true for any value of x. Okay, so the meaning of simple linear regression analysis, how can we get the equation of linear regression by hand or by MATLAB? How can we compute this equation? Okay, now this is the equation of linear regression. Y is a dependent variable, X is the independent variables, B is the slope or coefficient of regression, slope, A is a constant term or y-intercept as we explained before. So A gives the value of y when x equal 0, and B gives the change in y due to a change of 1 unit in x as we explained before. It's called a deterministic model. This model is called deterministic model, not probabilistic model. Okay, this model simply states that y is determined exactly by x, and for a given value of x there is only one value, okay, for y. In this case the relationship is called deterministic. However, in many cases the relationship between the two variables is not exact. For example, if y is food expenditure and x is income, and then model 7 would state that food expenditure is determined by income only, and that all families with the same income spend the same amount of food as mentioned earlier. However, food expenditure is determined by many variables, only one of which is included in the model or in the equation. In fact, different families with the same income spend different amount of money on food because of the differences in the size of the families, the assets they own, and their preferences and tastes. Okay, مش ممكن طبعا تكونوا كل الأسر ذات الدخل متساوي بتنفق نفس الانفاق، لاختلاف طبعا عدد أفراد الأسرة وطبيعة تفضيلات الأسرة وأذواق الأسرة وهكذا. Okay, this term is called the random error. So we have to add a term to represent the other variables not taken into consideration in the equation. Okay, this term is called the random error term. It's denoted by Greek letter epsilon. Okay, like this. So because we don't take into account all variables affect y, we have to write the epsilon to represent the random error term. The random error term represent any error and the other variables not taken into consideration. So this model is called probabilistic model, not deterministic like the previous one. Okay, or statistical relationship، دي العلاقة اللي هي الإحصائية بين الاثنين. The random error term epsilon is included in the model to represent the following two phenomena. Number one, missing or omitted variables, variables not taken into consideration. As mentioned earlier, food expenditure is affected by many variables other than income. The random error term epsilon is included to capture the effect of all those missing or omitted variables that have not been included in the model. Okay, يبقى احنا خدنا متغير مستقل واحد واهملنا باقي المتغيرات، عشان كده بنحط الابسلون. نمرة 2 random variation، تغير العشوائي. Human behavior is unpredictable. For example, a family may have many parts during 1 month and spend more than usual on food during that month. Okay. احيانا بيبقى في اعياد ميلاد، بيبقى في عيد قومي، بيبقى في فبص تلاقي بيبقى في حفلات، فبيبقى في انفاق في اشهر معينه بدرجه اكبر. ساعات مثلا في رمضان يبقى فيه انفاق اكتر، وهكذا. مش كل الشهور زي بعضها. The same family may spend less than usual during another month because it spent quite a bit of money to buy furniture. يشتروا أساس في شهر معين أو هكذا، يشتروا كسوة وهكذا. The variation in food expenditure for such reasons may be called random variation. Random variation ده تغير عشوائي. عشان كده the estimated regression model will be y hat equal a plus b of x. y hat ده المتغير التابع المقدر من المعادلة، equal a حد الثابت plus b multiplied x. b is the coefficient of regression. Where y hat pronounced y hat is the estimated or the predicted value of y for a given value of x. Equation 9 is called estimated regression model. Okay, so it gives the regression of y on x. انحدار y على ايه؟ على x. scatter diagram، شكل الانتشار. scatter diagram is a plot of paired observations. The following example display how to draw a scatter diagram. Example 5. Assume we take a sample of 7 employees from the Faculty of Commerce and collect information on their incomes X and food expenditures Y for the last month. The information obtained in hundreds of Egyptian pounds is given in the following table. X and Y. Draw a scatter diagram for these data. Solution. Drawing any point using the pair of values x and y. Okay, so by hands you will use a y as a vertical line and x is a horizontal line like this. Then denote x and y, the first point, when y equal, when x equal 55 on the horizontal line, and go up to the point when y equal 14. Then put the point here to represent the 2 points, the 2 points for x and y, and so on. Okay, using MATLAB put x and put y, then use the function scatter x and y and filled to fill the point all points, okay, like this. This is the scatter diagram, or called scatter plot. So the y vertical line represents the food expenditure, and the x as a horizontal line represent the income, okay, and every point represent two values of x and y. Every point represent two values, okay. So to get the simple regression model, try to draw a line like this, a line between all these points, where the difference between all points and this line, the total differences equal 0. This is called the least square line, okay. So look at this. We can draw a lot of lines like this, but which one represents the relationship between x and y? Which one line of those? Okay, as I said, the line, or the best line, represents the relationship between x and y, is the least square line. Least square line means that we minimize the square differences between all points and this line. We minimize, okay. So all these lines may represent, but the best one is the least square line. Okay. Least square line. The value of y obtained for an observation from a survey is called observed or actual value of y. As mentioned earlier in this section, the value of y, which denoted by y hat, obtained for a given x by using the regression line, is called the predicted or estimated value of y. So the difference between y and y hat represent the error term, okay, which this is the error, the difference between any point and the line, or the least square line, represents the error, okay. We have to minimize this error, okay. So it's called least square line because it minimizes the squared differences between all points and the line, okay. Regression line and random errors. In the above figure, E is a vertical distance between the actual position of an employee and the corresponding estimated point on the regression line, okay. as displayed by the arrows. Note that in such a diagram we always measure the dependent variable on the vertical axis and the independent variable on the horizontal axis, as we said before. So the summation of error means the summation of y minus y hat. Y hat is the estimated y, and this equals 0. This equals 0. Okay, so the baseline make the error or the summation of error equal 0. So we compute the squared differences, not the differences itself. We minimize the squared differences. Okay, like this. So SSE means the sum of square of error. The sum of squares of error must equal sigma y minus y hat squared. Must be minimized. Must be minimized. Okay, the smallest value of squared errors. Then SST means sum of square of error minimizes the difference between y and y hat. So the least square method gives the values of a and b for model 8 such that the sum of squared errors SSE is minimum, the smallest value. Okay, the value of a and b that give the minimum SSE are called the least square estimates of a and b. The least square estimates of a and b. And the regression line obtained with these estimates is called the least square line. Okay, how can we compute the least square line or the equation of simple linear regression model? The equation of simple linear regression model. Okay, to compute y hat we must compute a and b. A is the constant or y-intercept, and the b is the coefficient of regression or the slope of the curve, the slope of the straight line. Okay, b equal SSXY divided SSXX, and a equal y bar minus bx bar. You know that y bar, the mean of y, equals sigma y over n, and x bar, the mean of x, equals sigma x over n. Okay, and SSXY equal sigma xy minus sigma x sigma y over n, and the SSXX equal sigma x square minus sigma x all square over n. Okay, so the difference between SSXY and SSXX is that you replaced y here by x, then replace y by x, instead of xy you have x square, and instead of sigma x sigma y you have sigma x square, like this. Okay, SS means sum of squares. Okay, the least square regression line is also called the regression of y on x, انحدار y على x. Example 6. Find the least square regression line for the data on incomes and food expenditures on the 7 employees given in example 5. Use income as an independent variable and the food expenditure as a dependent variable. Solution by hand. Construct a table like this. The first column represents X, the second represents Y. Then the third column represents the multiplication of X and Y. Then get X squared. Okay? So here the summation of X squared equal 4489. The summation of XY equal 1139, and so on. The summation of X equal 386. The summation of Y equal 108, and so on. Then get X bar sigma X over N. So X bar equal 55.1 and Y bar equal 15. Then compute sigma XY and sigma Y square. Sigma XY, the summation of the third column. Sigma X squared, the summation of the last column. Okay, to compute SSXY, so SSXY equal sigma XY minus sigma X sigma Y over N. Then substitute as you see, and also sigma SSXX equal sigma X squared minus sigma X all square over N, like this. Then apply the equation. So A equal 15.4 and B equal 0.25. Okay, so A equal 1.5 because A equal Y bar minus BX bar. Then Y bar equal 15.4, and as you see, B equal SSXY divided SSXX equal 0.2525, like this. And when X equal here we said that A equal 1.5 equal 1.5. Okay, so this is X bar, this is B, and this is Y bar. Y bar equal 15.4, B equal 0.25, and X bar equal 55.1. So A equal 1.5. Okay, the estimated regression model will be Y hat equal 1.5 plus 0.25 multiplied by X. This is the estimated equation, or equation of predicting Y hat. By MATLAB we can use three methods to get this least square line. Okay, we will study two of them only. Number one, the basic fitting model. Okay, this model depends on the function scatter, the figure which we drew before, and then use tools, insert tools, then basic fitting through the figure, then select linear and show equation as follows. Okay, this is linear and show equation, and this is the basic fitting. So from to menu, tool, then basic fitting, then linear, then show equation. Okay, this will give the line and the equation like this, the line and the equation like this. Okay, so this is the same equation as we made by hand. Using the function regress, cancel this one. Okay, cancel this one. Okay, cancel. Okay, so you have to cancel this. It's enough to use two methods only. This is the second one. So you can cancel this. Okay, so the next method is using the function regstats. Okay, how can you use the function regstats? Put x as an column, the vector and the transpose means a column, y as a column, like the function core. Okay, then put stat as an argument, equal regstats y and x, and 2 squared, empty square. Okay, and beta means a and b. To get beta, put beta between two converted commas. Okay, so b equal stat, this one, dot beta, this field. Okay, so to get beta equal 2 by 1 double. Okay, put b equal stat dot beta, so b equal, this is a and this is b. Beta contains a, the constant limit, and the b, the coefficient of regression. Now look, assume that we want to compute or estimate y hat when x equal 61, when x equal by hundreds of pounds. So when the income is 6,100, because the units explained by 100s, so x will be 61. Okay, and the omit the 2 zeros because the unit is by hundreds. Okay, so in this case a equal 1.5 and the b equal 0.25 and the x equal 61, then y hat equal 16.9 hundredths of pounds, or 1690.7 1690. ده الانفاق المتوقع لما بيكون الدخل 6100. In other words, based on our regression line, we predict that an employee with a monthly income of 6,100 is expected to spend 1,690 Egyptian pounds on food. Okay, this value can also be interpreted as a point estimator of the mean value of y for x equal 61 units. Okay, The error between the real and the expected y in case of when the employee real food expenditure is 1,600 and the expected equal 1,690, so the difference between y and y hat equals 16 units of hundreds minus 16.9 equal 0.9. 0.900 or equal minus 90.7. Therefore, the error of prediction is minus 90.7. The negative error indicates that the predicted value of y is greater than the actual value. Okay, is greater than the actual value. So the point is under the line. Thus, if we use the regression model, the employee's food expenditure is overestimated by 90.7 as shown in the following figure. This one, the real or the actual y here equal 16, this point, and the expected on the line equal 16.9, so the difference represents the error equal 16 minus 16.9 equal minus 90. So when the difference is under the line, it's negative. When the difference is over the line, it is positive. Okay, but all differences under and above, the summation of all differences equal 0. Okay, interpretation of A and B, as we said before, A is a constant or the value of y when x equal 0, and the B is the slope or the coefficient of regression, which means that the rate of change in y when x change by only 1 unit. Okay, so this is the meaning of A and B as we explained before. So now we will stop here and cancel the coefficient of determination and any title after the coefficient of determination. So we have to cancel from the coefficient of determination to the end, right? To the end, like this. Okay, this is cancelled. So the last point, we will stop at coefficient of determination. Okay, like this. We will stop here, and I hope you will succeed, and best wishes for all of you. Thank you very much.